Okay, so we're going to be going over Ohm's law today and how to calculate it. On this first slide, we have the basic relationships between each component of Ohm's law and what it means and what those units are. So just to quickly run through this, Ohm's law states that the voltage is equal to the current times the resistance. So the current multiplied by the resistance. When we set up these problems, they're going to be set up in a way that shows the voltage as a V, all right, and it's going to be measured in volts when we have it as an answer. Current is weird, it's an I, and it's measured in amps, and resistance is R, and it's measured in something called ohms. Now, if you can't find this symbol on your assignment, I pasted it on there so you can copy and paste it for your answers, but if you can't find it, that's okay. Just type out the word ohm here when you have your answer. That's fine. So here is the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. So the voltage here is trying to push the current here through a wire, but the resistance is trying to slow it down. So this is our relationship between V, I, and R. The voltage tries to push the current through the wire. The resistance will try to slow down the flow of current. The bigger voltage you have, the faster the current will go. The bigger resistance you have, the slower the current will go. And that's the basics of this law. So now we're going to look at that mathematically. So I'm not sure if you guys remember this from when we did wave speed, but we have triangles. In the triangle, you have voltage on the top, you have current and resistance on the bottom. Whenever you do these problems, what you're going to do is you're going to search for what the question is asking you to find, and you're going to cover that up in your triangle. So I'm going to make a box here. Okay. And I'm going to use that in a second. So if whatever you cover up, all right, if you're left with the letters that go up and down on top of each other, you're going to be doing division. If you're left with letters that are going left to right of each other, like I and R, then you're going to be doing multiplication. So, for example, if the question asks you to calculate the voltage, you're going to drag the box or your finger over the voltage in the triangle. And as you can see, you are left with I and R on the bottom. That means that your formula will be voltage is equal to current times resistance. Okay, and then as you can see, if you continue to move through this, all right, and say we want to do I, all right, we can cover up I, and that means we will have V is literally over top of R, so you're doing division. So V divided by R is current. So the voltage divided by the resistance makes the current. Oops, wrong button. And then finally, you can slide this box over and you'll see you'll have the same thing. If you have the voltage and the resistance and you cover up the R, like in this box, we cover this up, you'll have V is literally over I. So your voltage divided by your current would make your resistance. So this is how you solve for all of them. And what the point of this triangle is to take the algebra out of this assignment. You can simply cover something up and see what it's talking about, see what your formula is, really simply and quickly. So let's do a few. I'm going to do 3 problems. I'm going to do one where we solve for resistance, one where we solve for current, and one where we solve for voltage, and do one of each. Okay, so this is the WISE method, if you remember that from when we did wave speed again. It's a really simple way to organize your problems so that you cannot get them wrong as long as you put the information in. Okay, so we're going to start with W. Remember, W stands for what are you solving for? All right. So if it says the alarm clock draws 0.5 amps of current when connected to a 120 volt circuit, calculate the resistance. All right, you're going to look for your action words. You're going to look for what it's asking you to do. So you're going to, right here, it says calculate the resistance. That tells you exactly what you're supposed to do. All right. Next, you can look for things. Let's go ahead and put that in the box first. So calculate the resistance. So that goes in the what box. So you're just going to type in an R in that box. I know you're going to be doing this assignment on the computer. So what I'm going to write down is what you can physically type into the computer. So type in a capital R into the W box. Next, you're going to be looking for the information in the problem. So the information it gives you, that's normally in the form of numbers. So you're going to look for, right here, it says 0.5 amps of current. And then right here, it says 120 volts. So that gives you the information that you need in order to solve for the problem. So we have V is equal to, right there, it says 120. And then I is current, and it's equal to 0.5. Don't forget your units. So voltage and amplitude, amp. So now you have V, you have I, and you need to solve for R. So if you remember the triangle, I'm going to put this down here. So you're going to look at your triangle, V, I, and R. So if you remember, you're going to cover up what you're looking for. Since we're looking for R, you're going to cover that up in the triangle with your finger. I'm just scribbling over it because that's what I can do with a pen. So that will reveal that it's V divided by I. V divided by I is going to be your formula. So with a computer, you do division with a slash. So you do V slash I. And then do equals. And now you're going to substitute in the numbers for the corresponding letter. So V is here. The number that represents V is 120, so it's going to go first. And the number that represents I is 0.5, so it's going to go second. So you're going to do 120 divided by 0.5, and that will give you your answer. All right, so then you put this into a calculator, this part here, and you type that in the box there. So I'm going to go through the answer of this first one, but as we go through them, I'm going to kind of make sure you do it first before you can double check it. So 120 divided by 0.5 is 240. All right, and with resistance, it's ohms. So you type in OHMS. Or if you can find the symbol, you can paste it there. This is how we solve for resistance. If you need to go back and see any one of those steps, pause the video and rewind and watch it as many times as you need. So I'm going to go through these rather quickly because you can do that. You can pause and rewind if I'm going too fast or you need to see something again. All right, so I'm going to go to question 4 here. And this one is similar. So we're going to follow the same steps. It says a current contains 1.5 volt battery, a bulb with resistance of 3 ohms. Calculate the current. So this one's pretty straightforward for us. It tells us right here to calculate the current. So what are we finding? The current. Remember, current is an I. Second, we're going to be doing the information in the problem. So in this problem, the information that is given are the numbers. So look, it says 1.5 volts. So my voltage equals 1.5. And then my resistance is 3. So 3 ohms. So my resistance equals 3. And then that or ohms. So now, if you remember the triangle, Again, you can just reference the top of your paper at any time to see the triangle. All right, so if I'm looking for I, I'm going to cover that up. And that leaves me V divided by R. So V slash R. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the numbers for the matching letters, just like last time. So V is 1.5, so 1.5 divided by 3. On your computer, you would type it in as 1.5 slash 3, like this. So this right here is kind of what I want on your computer because I know we're not putting out any paper right now. So 1.5 divided by 3 gives you 0.5. Remember, current is in amps, so you need a capital A for amps. And that's how you calculate the current. Finally, we're going to go on to, let's see, where is this one? All right, how much voltage? All right, so there it is. So I've done a resistance problem. All right, and now I'm going to do I just did a current problem, and now I'm going to do a voltage problem just to complete all three. So it says right at the top, how much voltage? Boom. Very simple, straightforward. Voltage is needed to generate 10 amps of current in a circuit that has 5 ohms of resistance. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by your information. So it says 10 amps of current. It tells you straight up you're solving for current, or you have current right there. So I goes here in the information box, and it's going to be 10 amps. And then down here it says ohms of resistance. So that is a R for you, and that tells you it's 5. All right, next step. Look at your triangle. V, I, and R. With this, you're looking for voltage, so you're going to cover up V. And that, since now this one's a little different, they're right next to each other. So since they're next to each other, it's going to be multiplication. So I times R, current times resistance. So in the box, you can just draw or type I times or X R. Then make sure you put in your numbers, 10 X 5. That shows me you're doing your multiplication step right here. And then your answer is obviously 50. 50, make sure you include the unit voltage. This is a really nice way to do problems because I can see every step you take, and therefore I can reward you more credit and points on assignments if you get it wrong. Okay, so for example, pretend you did this. Now this is wrong, so don't actually do it, but say you accidentally divided, okay? So say you accidentally did I divided by R. All right, so 10 divided by 5 would have given you 2. All right, I know that's the wrong answer, but I can see in this box that you did it wrong. And I know that you got the answer wrong. However, you did this part right. You showed me you knew that you needed to solve for voltage, and you got the correct unit and the correct information in the problem. So you get half credit on this whole problem. So say this is worth 4 points, 1 for each box. You get 2 out of 4, so you would still get something instead of the wrong answer. You'd probably even get a little bit more points even if you had the right unit for the wrong answer. So this tells me that you may have simply just mixed up multiplication and division, and that you don't necessarily have a lack of knowledge or understanding. So that's important when you do these problems, and that's why I do it that way, is that I can see if you make a mistake and where you made it at. Or if you even put it, when you did the division ones, if you put the numerator where the denominator should go on accident, that tells me you just put it in the calculator wrong, not that you don't understand the material. So it helps me help give you more points. So that's the end of this tutorial. If you have any more questions, please reach out to me on Schoology, and I will do my best to help you out.